Sometimes people are like, why are we going backwards? And
Hmm.
I think it's too often we skip that step, or I see people skip that step.
Right.
Just like if you're an archer and you're pulling a bow and arrow
Hmm.
back, understand that
Mm.
you are pulling that arrow back so that it can fly forward.
Yeah. Welcome to the Sold Out Sales Podcast, the podcast that will equip both the seasoned sales professional and the more reluctant seller with mindset shifts and strategies needed to succeed in a competitive marketplace. Welcome back to the Sold Out Sales Podcast. It is always my delight to get to hang out with you all once a week. I'm looking forward to more. We're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But this week, I'm bringing back a dear friend and someone who I love and admire so much. You're going to fall in love with her as well. Today, we're talking to Dana Earhart. She'll tell you a little bit about her last name because I love to hear her story. But you're going to be able to step into the mindset of a 7+ figure CEO and learn how she works with overwhelmed entrepreneurs to transform them into amazing, powerful, self-sustaining CEOs. And she's going to help you to learn what it means to achieve big results and not to be overwhelmed. So, Dana, why don't you share a little bit about who you are, what you do, but include something that we're not going to hear about in your bio or on your website.
Awesome. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited to have a conversation with you today and hopefully drop some good nuggets
I
for your
know
listeners.
it.
I am Dana Earhart of Dana Earhart Consulting. And one thing that I view as my claim to fame that not many people know about me is that you may recognize it with my last name. I am the fourth cousin of Amelia Earhart, the famous pilot. And I laugh every time I say it because I call myself Dana Earhart, but I call her Amelia Earhart. So Earhart, it's all good.
I love it. I love when you share that because, first of all, who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? And many of us don't know enough about our history to know who we're related to. So I love that you share that story. So, Dana, you and I met, God, a few years ago now in a coaching program, I think, and really had a great connection. And I will just say, I was drawn to you because of just who you are, first and foremost, who you are, how you show up, but the way that you're able to articulate how a CEO, a 7-figure CEO thinks and how they're able to show up in their business just amazes me. How did you kind of embark upon this? What kind of led you down the path to arrive where you are now?
Well, it's been quite a journey. And before I launched my business just shy of about 13 years ago.
Mhm.
And prior to that, I spent 20 years in corporate consulting. I was fortunate to lead a team of 100 individuals across the country and in London working with clients. I learned a lot about leadership, strategic planning,
Mhm.
project management, team development. And ultimately, what sparked my change, my big pivot, was being pregnant with my son. I
Wow.
had him 2 months before I turned 40, and at that point, I realized while I loved the career I was in, I didn't want to be traveling the country anymore, and I really wanted to be at home and be able to enjoy all the activities and raising him. And so that is when my business was born. And in full transparency, when I first launched the business, I was targeting working with busy career women, helping them find their own personal balance. I don't believe in a 50-50 balance. It's more about finding your rhythm. But what I quickly learned is first and foremost, I was running from what I knew. I was running from the leadership, the team management, the strategic planning. And the majority of the individuals I was talking to at that point were women and they were business owners.
Wow.
And it really had me thinking about what most business owners need, whether you're in the low, mid, high 6 figures, whether you've crossed into those 7 figures, you're looking for a blend of the strategic, tactical business strategy. And I believe you also need the leadership strategy. And I often refer to it as life leadership because most of what we learn in business
Mm-hmm.
can absolutely be applied to our life. It's communication, it's being curious, it's mentoring individuals. If you're a parent, there's a lot of crossover between parenting and leading and mentoring others. But from that point is where my business was truly born, to work with service-based business owners and really helping them lay the next level of foundation in their business so they can move up to that next level. I often say it's taking your ceiling and turning it into your next floor. Like literally think of it as a
Yes.
revolving floor that just moves and boom, you are on the next level when you've built the foundation under you to really sustain that growth.
Well, you said so many great things, and I want to unpack a lot of that. But I want to go back to something you said because I think it's important. First of all, thank you for being so real and honest, because you said you were running from the true call. I'll say it that way. You were running from what you were really gifted to do. Number one, how did you acknowledge that? And then how did you face it so that you could actually pivot to help the people you're really uniquely gifted to serve?
Well, I knew that when I was working with these women and helping them find their own rhythm, so much of it, I think I am a geek when it comes to spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. My brain processes in rows and columns. That's how it works to solve challenges. And ultimately, that's what these women were facing. It was, how do we create more systems in and out of the office so that life works more effectively and more productively? It's thinking about what are the long-term plans and then reverse engineering that to, okay, what is the short-term goal and what is the action plan that's going to help us achieve that? And it's leadership. And I think I was feeling when I left corporate, I very much was a workaholic in my 20s. I was focused on climbing the corporate ladder, being that strong, independent female executive. And I was able to create a very good track record for myself. My 30s, though, it was about, okay, how do I find that rhythm? Because I want more than just the office. I want a life outside of the office. And really, what is one of the most fundamental philosophies behind everything that I do at this point is helping business owners build a business that supports the life they want.
Yeah.
And that is where I'll get goosebumps every time I say that,
Yes.
because I knew, I won't go into all the details, but by the time I was 30, I had my first trip to the emergency room. I had first trip to a cardiologist. I was fortunate it wasn't my heart, but it was stress and anxiety. My body was telling me it needed new ways of living and working that also kept my health at the forefront. And I see so many business owners think, okay, when I get to the next level, then I'll take more time off, then I'll change my schedule, then I'll be there for my family or my loved ones. I want to be a catalyst for helping you figure that out now while you're building it to the next level. And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what we create if you're open to it.
I love that. So I'm having one of those moments where I have a million questions in my head that are just popping up every time you start talking. So I'm going to try to contain myself and take people on a journey they can follow. So when you talk about that revolving floor, where instead of it becoming your ceiling, you're literally creating it as a stepping stone for you to get to your next level. How would you explain that or help someone who, number one, has been consistently taught that there's this ceiling that they have to butt up against, number one. Number two, they may see the ceiling, understand that it could be a step, but in the monotony, the minutia of running a business, they can't see how to get to that step to create it, or get to that ceiling to create that step. How do you help someone to fill the gap between where they are and where they really need to be?
Great question. Great question. And I think it starts, sometimes people are like, why are we going backwards? And I think it's too often we skip that step, or I see people skip that step.
Right.
Just like if you're an archer and you're pulling a bow and arrow back, Understand that
Mm.
you are pulling that arrow back so that it can fly forward.
Yeah.
And that is ultimately what I do when I'm working with clients is first give yourself permission to dream again.
Yeah.
Forget about the day to day for just the next hour and really think about what is the life you want to be living. And then what does that life require? So then we're looking at what does it require in the business? How many hours do you want to be working? What type of compensation do you want to be taking home? How many people do you want to serve? What size team do you want to be leading? And it's really then permission, then it's about creating the vision. And in that vision is to take some time to really get grounded in what that vision feels like, what it looks like, what you are celebrating
Mm.
when you are there. And when you can start creating those feelings in yourself, thinking about what it's like as if you are already there,
Yeah.
I want to capture that because it's about who you are. From there, it's about who you are being.
Mm-hmm.
And the goal is to become a seven-figure CEO mentally in your mind, then in your behavior, and then the seven-figure business will happen.
Oh,
It's one of,
Dana, I'm
I'm going to
literally
stop
going to
there.
fall out of my chair right now, girl. So check this out. I was just speaking with another guest earlier, and we talked about, and we're going to go there because I know you, and I know you can go here with me. We talked about, I mentioned how in Genesis, there's what we call the be, do, have theory. So you have to be, right, the
Yes.
person you need to be in order to have the things that God is, really designed for you. So that you can do the things rather that get you to the place
Yep.
so that you can have the blessings that God has for you. And if you look at it in scripture, right in the first part of Genesis, it really kind of describes that. And when you're saying that, not only do we don't just kind of wake up one day and we're this seven-figure CEO, we have to see it first. We have to believe it. We have to embody it in order to actually achieve it. So you're taking me down a whole different path, and I'm here for it. I'm totally going down the path with you because this is so good. What are the things that need to happen? Because at the end of the day, even our listeners are like, okay, how does this impact our sales? And you mentioned, you always talk about, you talk about being an optimized CEO. So having that mindset, beginning to embrace the necessity to believe and becoming that optimized CEO, how do these things impact our sales? And even especially if we're not the one physically doing them, or maybe we are doing some of them, how do all of these things work together in your mind? The belief, the optimization, and then the impact it has on our income.
Love this, and I'm all for it. I'm with
Right.
you on this conversation and this journey.
Yes.
I think once we are clear on who we're being, that just even when I said that you can see I move my hand by my head.
Yeah.
And I think the next step then, as we are embodying, as you use that word so perfectly, is to be dropping into our heart.
Mm.
And when we are heart centered, for me, service based business,
Yeah.
when I am here to serve others, I am connecting my mind with my heart and then subsequently the behavior.
Yeah.
And so when I am showing up genuinely and authentically in my sales conversations, when I am showing genuine curiosity about someone else, about what their goals are, what they want to achieve, what challenges they're up against, I am there to serve in that moment. I am not in that moment thinking about my sales. I am thinking about being of service.
Yes.
And the person on the other end, 9 times out of 10, it's happening over Zoom. They can feel that. Not only do they get to see it, I'm not reading from a script.
Right.
I'm not coming across with pushy energy. You're getting to know Dana, the me behind the business. And I am genuinely here to hear what you want to achieve. And then I'm assessing whether or not I believe we're a good fit that I will be able to help you move that needle forward towards your goals. And so that is, for me, how to really connect that into the sales, because I'm really clear on who I am being, what I am doing, and where I'm coming from when I'm in the doing. And it is not about me, me, me. It is about how can I serve you? How can I support you? How can I help you?
Can I give you a virtual high five right now? Just like,
yes.
Oh, there we go. I'm like, if we were in person, I'd be giving you like the biggest hug because you're speaking my language. And I think as leaders, we sometimes forget, number one, how much that impacts ourselves just as how we're being. But I bet, and I'd love to hear what you think about this, but I bet that a lot of CEOs don't realize that they set the atmosphere for their entire company. So if they're clear on who they are and they're showing up in that energy, it impacts everybody in the organization, and you pull them up alongside you instead of, and I know it happens sometimes, but instead of like constantly putting out fires and trying to figure out why someone is the way they are, have you heard that phrase? I know you have. So goes the leader, so goes the team. And so what you're saying is not only important for us as CEOs, as business leaders, especially those that are at or aspiring to seven figures. I think that it's so important that we realize the impact that we have on the people who are watching us, whether we know it or not, right?
Absolutely. It's that direct and indirect role modeling for others. And I am a firm believer that we lead to the level of our weakest link.
Ooh, yes.
And so one thing I think oftentimes clients are surprised by, or maybe not as they get to know me, is that one of the number one things I encourage leaders to do in meetings with their team is when the meeting is concluding, before it is over, asking, what do you need from me to be more successful in your role, with this project, whatever it might be? Because that again is showing curiosity, showing concern, and letting them know that they are empowered to let me know what they need from me in order to be more successful. And if you knew me in my 20s, I often joke that I was a manager by dictatorship. Yeah. I did not know leadership firsthand. It was a twisted compliment when I got it from a colleague once who said, Dana, you were the toughest person to work with, yet you're the one I learned the most from.
Wow.
And in that moment, I shrugged it off and said, well, great, you learned a lot from me. That's how I took
Forget
it.
that first part.
Now I've come to learn that, you don't have to be the most difficult. You can actually be one of the most enjoyable, one of the most respected, and help people learn along the way.
Yeah, I had a leader, who I love very much, but we called her the Velvet Hammer. Like, she's going to hit you. She's come back and make sure you're okay afterwards, but she's going to hit you with words, if you will. Have you ever gone to a networking event or a conference and found that although you made great connections and you walked away with a stack full of business cards, you still didn't have a real plan for how to get a good return on your investment of both time and money? Well, let me tell you, having a networking and sales planner is a way for you to be more intentional about the way that you network.
Hey, I'm Susan Gladstein. I'm a functional nutrition and metabolism specialist, and I got connected with Tish because she is a rock star at systems and sales, and so I downloaded the planner to help get my brain organized as I went through a rebrand and launched a new course. And it's really helped me sort of get things out of my head and onto paper so that I can actually do follow-ups and not just rely on my brain. So far it's rocking my world and making my business systems that were non-existent actually have some sort of structure. So I love it. It's amazing. And I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed.
I've been working with sales professionals for almost 15 years. And one of the things that I find is that when they don't have a plan, they do nothing. They sit at their desk and wonder what to do. Well, with this networking and sales planner, you have profit producing activities for every single day of the week. It tells you where to go, what to say, even gives you prompts as to how to interact with people that you don't know. If you're an introvert and you feel like this isn't for you, I have already thought of you because I understand exactly how introverts think. So this gives you the tools enabling you to be armed with words, with language, so that you can make your networking more profitable.
Hey everyone, Rachel Neighbors here from solo401k.com. And I wanted to take a moment to talk about how awesome this sales networking planner is that Tish put out. So as you can see, I have it on my Remarkable. That's my sort of e-ink planner. And this sales planner has been so helpful for me. So I'm an old school pay-per-click marketer. I do Google ads, Facebook ads, and I know how to turn advertising into profit. But I didn't know how to turn network sales into profit. And when I met Tish, this woman literally wrote the book on networking called, Networking is Not a One-Night Stand. And she's put that experience and that energy and those valuable tips into this networking sales planner. And I just think that it can be so powerful for you in your business. I know it's been really helpful for me and mine. One thing that Tish told me is, Rachel, when you meet someone, put them into your planner and then follow up with them like they're a lead that you've generated on Google Ads or that you followed up with or that you've generated on Facebook. And that has been so helpful and transformative in my business. So thank you, Tish, for this awesome planner.
Maybe you don't even like networking. You say things like, networking doesn't work. Well, let me tell you, when you have a plan in place, you have some intention, and you have the tools to be able to make it work, you will see a different result. My new networking and sales planner is a game changer. It's the difference between you going to an event, wandering around and walking away without any purpose and without any new money, and walking into an event with a plan, with a purpose, and being able to convert new clients into your business. No one wants to feel inauthentic and pushy or even salesy when following up. So frequently we just don't do it at all. Well, the profitable follow-up formula, which is in the back of your networking and sales planner, will give you the tools and the language and the frequency with which you should be following up so that it feels very authentic. It feels genuine and natural both to you and to the people that you're reaching out to. Go to tishtimes.com/planner to get your digital or physical version of your planner.
Hi, my name is Cheryl James from CL James Consulting, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how awesome this networking sales planner is. I started intentionally networking at the beginning of this year, and I have been using my planner on a regular basis, not only to get inspiration, but to track the people I want to meet and the people I have met, and to make sure that I follow up with them from week to week. So if you are looking to network intentionally and hold yourself accountable, this planner is a must-have.
And once you get your planner, you'll also receive a video series that's going to teach you how to maximize your networking and how to use this planner to get the best result and best return on your investment of both time and money. If you are ready to stop wasting time with networking and turn your networking into a sales machine, then go to tishtimes.com/planner and grab your networking and sales planner. What would you say? And I'll tell you, for me, and I can always tell when I'm having an off time or things are not coming together where I missed it. So if I don't start my day with worship, for me, it's like worship. I call it worship, word, writing, then workout, then work. So it's like I got to do these things first: worship, word, workout, writing, and then work. What daily rituals or mindset shifts can help people to come from where they might be right now, but as they're listening to this and saying, okay, I need to shift my thinking, I need to shift who I'm being. What are some of the things that you would say to your clients that they need to be doing in order to step into that being of a seven-figure CEO?
Great question. And I would say mine starts the night before.
Ooh, I like it.
Meaning
Yes.
tonight, tonight before I leave the office, I'm going to invest 5 to 10 minutes of time reflecting on how today went,
Hmm.
what went well, what was challenging, what can I celebrate that I created or accomplished today, because I think celebration is as important as gratitude, because so
Yes.
often when we are driven individuals, and most of us running businesses are very driven,
Hmm.
we forget to celebrate what we're accomplishing along the way.
Yes.
So it's spending 5 to 10 minutes on reflection, evaluation, celebration, and then it's what are my top 3 intentions for tomorrow?
Love
And
it.
by intentions, I am saying that, first of all, and I also only said 3.
Hmm.
So for those of you who are like me, I like my lists. I like to add things to the list just so I can cross it off. That's not what's happening in this moment. It's really about what are the top 3 intentions.
Hmm.
First and foremost, based on what I want to accomplish tomorrow, who does it require me to be?
Ooh, that's good. That is so good.
And then be thinking about what are the top 2 projects or situations that need my attention tomorrow. And once that is addressed, then you can move into other things, making sure, though, that the most important is your most urgent
Mm. Mm.
for the day, because that means the next morning when you wake up, before your feet hit the ground, you've already declared who you're going to be and where your focus is going to be. Then you can move into the meditation, the worship, the workout,
Yes.
and those daily routines. So, and then if you create this cycle, it becomes in a fabulous snowball. And I will say that planning the night before, there is scientific studies that have been done. I think it was Brian Tracy
Hmm.
who led a study that said for every 1 minute that you put into planning the day before, you will save 10 minutes in implementation and execution time.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
statistically, if I just factor in, okay, what if it's really about 10 minutes a day because we're doing the reflection and evaluation as well as the planning,
Yeah.
that's going to save you 90 minutes of implementation and execution time.
Oh my God.
And you start doing that daily, and it's exponential what you're saving for yourself.
Hmm.
So, for the leaders out there who want more time, either more time to invest in the business or more time to invest in their life, this 10-minute investment of time will change your life.
It will. Oh my goodness. I love the night before. And to be honest with you, I think there was a time when I spent more time doing that, not only the night before, but even like in advance of a week.
Yep.
I'm going to get back to that because I think that is a missing piece for many of us. And there's some spiritual implications to that as well that we could talk about later, but there's a lot to that. So I'm really glad that you brought that up. I needed that reminder, and I think a lot of people will take away a lot from it. You also said something that is, I want to make sure we echo it because people will sleep on this and miss that you said you declare who you want to be or who you need to be before your feet hit the floor. That is so powerful because in declaring it, I'm literally telling my day what is going to happen, opposed to me just letting the day happen to me. So
Yes.
that is so powerful. So listen, y'all, don't sleep on that. Make sure you take in what she said because there's so much value in those little gems.
Yeah.
So much. So you also help people to eliminate bottlenecks in their businesses. And we all know that the bottleneck is not outside. It's normally right here, right? But what are some of the ways that you help them break through, at the very least, acknowledging where the bottleneck is and how to get past it in their business?
So important. And I do have, audits and assessments that I will use with clients to determine there's various areas of our business, obviously, and there can be a bottleneck in every area of our business. Sometimes we are the bottleneck in
Right.
every area.
Right.
Sometimes we are just the bottleneck in one area. What I find often happens, though, is that what we believe is the problem or the challenge is not the root cause of that challenge.
Wow.
And I immediately think of, doctors. We go into the doctor for a pain and we think it might be one thing. And then we find out, no, it was something else. Like just back in September, thought I had sore throat, thought it was going to be strep. It was COVID.
Wow.
So had I just treated the throat and not taken that test or that audit to determine, no, my body was fighting something else, the same can happen in our business. And oftentimes people think cash flow is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You and I know
Yeah.
cash flow is not the problem. It's either sales
Mm-hmm.
or spending.
Yep.
Is the problem when there's a cash flow issue. And so if we're only thinking cash flow, we're not necessarily getting to that root cause of the problem. And so by going through the assessments or audits, or now because I've been doing this long enough, I can just ask a couple key questions. And either in what they are saying or what they are not saying, I can start identifying where the real bottleneck actually is, or what the root cause of the bottleneck is that they think they have.
Wonderful. Before we finish today, I want to make sure you share with us how to take that audit, because I think that's so important. Dana, you said something I've heard you say it a few years ago, and I've never forgotten it, and you kind of alluded to it today, is deciding the life you want to live and then building your business to really be able to serve that, right? To be able to provide that for you. How do you reverse engineer that? What are some of the ways that, because it always sounds good, and I know there's several people who would hear that and go, but how do I really make that happen? What are some very basic, I know that you could probably disclose a lot more when you're dealing with someone one-on-one, especially after they've done an audit of some sort with you, but what are some very basic things that we could do to reverse engineer seeing where we want to be, the life we want to live, how we want to spend our time, and then building our business around that?
Yeah. I think the key thing is to embrace that sometimes it's baby steps and sometimes it'll be big steps.
Yeah.
I had a client about a year ago running a multi-seven-figure business, he and his wife, and he was absolutely at burnout, burning the candle at both ends. Yet really it wasn't both ends, because what he was missing the most was time with his wife and time with his daughter. And he was leaving the house by 5 o'clock in the morning and getting home at 7 or 8 and just exhausted. And so what we started for him, he's like, I would love to have a couple days a week where I can be the one picking up my daughter from daycare, at 3 o'clock. And I said, okay, so this coming week, would you like to do that 1 day a week or 2 days a week?
Wow.
He's like, one, like, let's start with one. And so for him, it was, okay, so let's put it on the calendar. And then it's on the calendar. You picked what day of the week. You're leaving by 2:45 to get to daycare by 3. What might you have been doing the rest of that day that will either need to be delegated or moved around, and where do we need to shift your schedule? And so then we're literally looking at the calendar. We're looking at what his responsibilities were. And it is fascinating that when you can have those moments of joy, of fulfillment, of knowing that you're enjoying life outside of the office, not only do you start feeling the benefit of that right now, like we're talking about, let's say it was Thursday of next week, he's got almost an entire week to be looking forward to. Next Thursday, I'm going to pick up my daughter at daycare. Wow. Then he gets the day of picking up his daughter at daycare, and he gets the afterglow, I call it, after that I did it. Yeah. Okay, how do I do more of that? But what happens during that is you actually elevate how you show up on a daily basis. Now he's looking for solutions in, okay, I'm going to miss those 4 hours of work. What do I need to do to ensure that anything I was going to do then is done before that or delegated? He's now in problem solving mode, which good CEOs understand that is what we do.
Yeah.
We are problem solvers. And then after he did it once, he knew how good that felt. Now he's going to hold that time more sacred to ensure that he can start doing that on a weekly basis. And I've had other business owners who decide, you know what, I'm going to start taking Friday afternoons off. Then it might turn into, I'm going to take Friday off, or whatever day of the week they want. And some will say, from this point forward, I'm not working any Friday afternoon, and they will take it off every week. For others, they're going to start and say, you know what, twice a month, I'm leaving the office by noon on Friday.
Yeah.
And then you make a decision. I had a great mentor, Larry Wingett, who shared, you make a decision and then you make that decision right. And that, I believe, is one of the most empowering statements for a leader to really adopt, because then you're reminding yourself it's not about right or wrong. It's make a decision and make the decision right.
That is so good. That was such a practical answer. Thank you. Because it's one thing when we hear it and it's like, yeah, just believe it. And, and that's great. But that was such a tangible, practical answer that everyone listening to this can say, okay, what's the one small thing I want to start, and then move towards that. And then, like you said, the confidence builds to be able to do it. And then look, the next time we'll talk about how do we build ourselves to also feed that so that we have the income that we can actually make those decisions. So we're out of time, and it breaks my heart because I'm so enjoying our time together. And like I said before we started, let's jump on a Zoom. I really want to just kind of connect because there's so much that you have in you that I'm like, I want to just hear more. Dana, tell everyone how they can connect with you, and if it makes sense for them to maybe do an audit with you to understand where they need to make these adjustments. How do they connect with you to do that?
Great. Thank you. Well, I am certainly on the socials. You can definitely find me on Facebook, Instagram. The one I'm on the most is LinkedIn. So please connect with me there, Dana Earhart on LinkedIn. So I think it's linkedin.com/Dana Earhart, all one word. I also have a newsletter that I do put out weekly with tidbits on leadership, on business growth. So subscribe there as well. And if you are interested in the audit, I can give it to you in a written form where you can take it on your own. Or if you would like to meet on Zoom and actually do it together, I'm happy to do that as well. Connect with me on LinkedIn, send me a message saying audit, and I will get back to you personally to determine which way you want to take it.
Perfect. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the masterclass that Dana just gave us, because that's exactly what you just experienced. I really, I pray that you will take what you've heard, put something into action, because even just that last part, figuring out what is the thing that you really want to change about your life so that you can build your business around it, can be a game changer. Dana, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to reconnect and talk again, and have a wonderful rest of your week.
Thank you, Tish. To you as well. Thank you so much for having me here.
Absolutely. I will see you all here next week, next time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Thanks for listening to the Sold Out Sales podcast. I would be so appreciative if you would show me and my amazing guests some love by leaving a review on your favorite podcasting platform. Also, go over to tishtimes.com/resource page and make sure you pick up your sales and networking handbook, especially for introverts. Also, I would love to continue this conversation, so make sure you connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. I'll see you back here next week.